Transmitting from South Central Texas since 2007, this is Anomaly with Jen and Angela, talking about your favorite sci-fi fantasy topics. We're the halfway point between Muggle and Geek. Now releasing weekly. Subscribe for free and never miss an episode. Go to anomalypodcast.com and click on subscribe at the top of the page. Or find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your favorite shows.
Anomaly. Something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. An oddity. Peculiarity. Irregularity. Inconsistency. Incongruity. A rarity.
Hello and welcome to the Anomaly Podcast. I'm Jen. I carry a Think Geek Science Blue TNG briefcase into a Fortune 500 wearing fashion-forward business professional attire. And I am an anomaly.
I'm Tamara. I'm a slightly eccentric theater diva podcasting board game geek, and I am an anomaly.
I'm Noah. And Jen and Angela have threatened me with physical violence if I don't catch up on Star Trek Discovery right now. And I, too, am an anomaly.
Welcome to the podcast, people.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Noah is our new producer on Anomaly.
And I'm excited to be here.
We're having some audio issues, but we're going to roll with it on his mixer because it's new to him. But he's going to help do the editing, and he's going to play the music live for us like a real radio show because he has a radio background, and that's awesome. If you listen to the Star Wars stacks, Noah is the voice that announces our show.
Nice.
Which was a lot of fun to record, by the way.
It was, and you're a natural. And then Tamara is a listener on the show and also a new friend of mine and a longtime friend of Angela's, and she is from the great state of Maine.
Yes, Angela and I did theater when I lived in Texas. The Wizard of Worst at Worst Fest, actually. She was Dottie, the Dorothy character, and I was the Wicked Witch of the Worst. We do have a fabulous photo of me.
Did you have to wear like German-esque style barmaid dresses? Because that's what I'm envisioning.
No, but thanks for that visual. No, it was pretty classic witch with a prosthetic nose, which was alarming. We go back a good ways, let's say.
We are happy to have you on the show.
Thanks.
This episode of Anomaly is going to be an interesting one. We are talking about shipping. And if you're not real familiar with shipping, I know Tamara wasn't. She's like, what is that? Shipping is when you pine for two characters getting together in a show. So, for instance, if you're a fan of Star Trek The Next Generation, I know you wanted Picard and Crusher to be an item. They never got together for real officially in the show, but you pined for it. You know you did.
Where does shipping come from?
Shipping is short for relationship, like ship. I ship it.
Oh.
Fancy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of nerds ship different relationships, and some of them are like, okay, I never would have imagined that combination, but okay, to each his own. Then, of course, there are relationships that shows or books or whatever, movies, films, they hint at, but, they never actually get together. And if they did, I'm not sure that it wouldn't jump the shark. So maybe it's good that they didn't get together, but you still wish they did.
Yeah, it's funny. Just tonight I was talking over dinner with my other half, and we were talking about the ones where they do eventually get together somewhere at the 5th or 7th or 11th season or something. And he's like, and then the show's over. They jumped the shark. They got to stop.
It's like Ross and Rachel.
Yes.
So do you have any ships, Noah?
Oh, man, there's so many. And the ones that I tend to think about offhand are related to the Star Wars universe. That's where I spend a lot of my imagination time. And there's a part of me that just can't get over thinking about the what-if situation of Leia and Lando. What if it had been Lando that had been the one to help save Leia from the Death Star, And, if it had been Lando in the Mos Eisley Cantina when Obi-Wan and Luke came in, how things might have been a little different.
That was on my list. Leia and Han belonged together, but he wasn't exactly there all the time. So I feel like Lando would have been. He would have been there for her.
Yeah.
Do you think he was too much of a playboy? Maybe he would have been the same way as Han.
Han has this whole, instead of dealing with an uncomfortable situation, I'm just going to run away thing that's kind of been meted out a little bit, especially in the newer movies. But as fans of the extended universe and the books and such, you see that he just kind of has that tendency to do a lot. But yeah, I'm not sure Lando would have played it the same way. He might have been more of a, hey baby, let's do this thing together. Can I interest you in a Colt 45?
My, what do we have here? What about you, Tamara?
Well, I've been spending some time thinking about some of the classic relationships that we expect, but I hadn't been thinking about, I'm a little afraid you've kind of opened up my brain here and blown my mind. Thinking about, the people we weren't led to think about, not, Mal and Inara, which is a classic thing, but thinking more about Zoe and Kaylee or, something like that. So now I want to kind of really mull that. Although I had put out on Facebook today for my friends, I put, so what are the sci-fi relationships the almost relationships I said, that you enjoyed the most or found most frustrating or whatever. And a lot of people put the classic relationships out, or they put people that hooked up on the various Star Trek naked shows, and Naked and Afraid. Well, I'll call it Naked and Afraid shows. But then they put out some different things, some little bit more, I think, I'm like, oh, that's your own desire. Like someone had said Finn and Poe. One of them was being funny and said C-3PO and R2-D2.
They're already counterparts. That's canon.
I have one related to that. I was thinking L3 from Solo, the one that had the crush on Lando, the droid, all for droid rights, and Twiki from Buck Rogers would follow her around thinking he was the boss, but she would always tell him what to do.
Nice.
That's a deep cut. I love that.
It would just be like, beep.
Very nice.
I have a couple of relationships that I really admired. Did y'all watch Lost?
I watched like the first season of Lost.
Yeah, no, I'm like culturally aware of it.
In a later season, and I can't remember which one it was, they were always present from the beginning, but I think they really came into view in later seasons. Bernard Nadler and his wife Rose Nadler, they were just so sweet together, and they always gave the other people on the island advice, and it usually was about relationships. I guess it's okay to ship a relationship that actually worked on a show.
Sure,
that's
why not?
The one I shipped.
So I have kind of one of the more famous, contentious ones that I think we should talk about. Let's bring it up in an open forum, get it out there, get our feelings known. Should Harry Potter have ended up with Hermione instead of Hermione going with Ron?
Here are our thoughts on this after this short break. Support Anomaly monthly, and we'll send you a thank you gift. We love Anomaly, but we can use a little help keeping this show coming to you every week. If you can donate $5, $10 or more a month, we'll send you the full version of the original Anomaly theme song, as well as Television Junkie, which we play in the TV segment.
I'm a television junkie, and the real world stumps me.
And Dark Horse, which we play in the outro. Angela's husband, he wrote that stuff, and he plays bass in the tracks. His band, The Illuminati, recorded it back in the early 2000s when we were students at Southwest Texas State University. That's authentic Texas punk, y'all, and it's yours to jam to whenever you want when you become a sponsor of Anomaly. We'll also thank you on the show and add your name to a supporters page on the website. Just go to anomalypodcast.com and click on Donate to select your way to give. Thanks so much for your help. We love you people. Special thanks to Rick P., Rick M., Amber, and Stephanie for their continued support of the show.
It's the big one. let's discuss. I have feelings about this, so I would like to hear what y'all have to say about that particular ship.
I happen to really like Jenny Weasley, so...
Yeah, I totally see that. That was an area where every time I didn't quite buy it. I mean, I understood it and I bought it and I got it and I knew where it was going, but it didn't make sense to me. It's like sometimes you're watching these relationships and you can feel it, you feel the chemistry and you know it's going to happen. And it did feel more forced for me in that area. It's like, nope, it's going to go this direction. That's just the way it is.
You mean Hermione and Ron?
Hermione and Ron. Yeah. That didn't, I mean, I got it, but I didn't feel it. Same for you?
I feel the same sort of way. It just didn't feel like it was an earned relationship between Ron and Hermione. It seemed like there was a lot more of that sort of relationship building between Harry and Hermione. And so when, all of a sudden in, I think it's like book 4 or 5, that Ginny kind of starts showing, it's got to be in like 5, because that's when he starts thinking about Cho at first, and then he gets off of Cho and starts going towards Ginny. But it just really didn't seem like Hermione and Ron were as earned of a relationship. So I guess it's less that I buy Harry and Hermione and more that I don't buy Ron and Hermione.
Yes, I agree. I think, sorry for anyone I might offend on this, but Ron he would have driven me personally crazy. I wouldn't have been able to tolerate it. So I was like, what? What are you doing? It doesn't make any sense.
My son, he's a strawberry blonde, and for the longest time, Angela, our friend Sithjen, and I have been wanting our children to cosplay as Harry, Ron, and Hermione because Sithjen's daughter is only a year or two older than our sons, and our sons are close to the same age, and they look like the characters in some way, and they act like the characters. Like, my kid's a jock. Well, I take it back. He's kind of an anomaly because he's nerdy about things, but he also loves sports and stuff. So, but he's basically Ron, and he tells me over and over again, Ron is stupid, Mommy. I am not Ron.
Aww.
And I'm like, okay, but you're not Ron, but you look like Ron, so can you just wear the costume? No. So,
Defiance.
My son agrees with you on that, and I think he was a sweetheart. I don't know, their personalities weren't aligned, but we see that in reality all the time.
That's very true.
Yes, that's
so
true.
opposites attract.
Yes.
What else you got, Noah? You're coming up with some good ones.
Yeah.
I had a thought that perhaps we could take some characters from beloved series that do not necessarily have significant others and try to find significant others for them. For instance,
I've been trying to do that.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, who in any sort of fandom, be it Star Trek, Firefly, you can choose the fandom you want to go with, but who is out there somewhere who Obi-Wan Kenobi could settle down in a little hut on Tatooine with and watch Luke Skywalker grow up?
I did consider this. I also considered Data. These are hard characters to pair up. I thought Galadriel for a while, but I think she's too wizard for him. But they are both INFJ in the Myers-Briggs test. I know.
Ooh, you have thought about this.
I am also INFJ, and it often tells me, my results often tell me I'm Obi-Wan and Galadriel, so I know these things.
Oh, interesting.
They tried to, in the Clone Wars cartoon, pair him up with, what was her name? Satine?
She was from Satine, from Chandralar.
Actually, she was the Mandalorian.
Oh, Mandalorian, that's right.
Leader. She was super smart and very wise, and I think that's right up his alley. So that's why I was going with Galadriel, but I still think she was on a tier far above him. So I don't know. What do you think, Tamara?
Well, see, I have a weird sense of humor.
Okay.
And so mine doesn't get as serious. Like I go, what first popped into my head? And the first one was Angela Lansbury on Murder, She Wrote.
Ooh.
Are we talking old school Obi-Wan from A New Hope? Because
yes.
I can see that.
That's where I was.
I don't see new, like...
No. No,
You
I'm
and
saying,
McGregor.
they're settled.
Yeah, you and McGregor.
They're settled down.
Yeah.
Old married folk cussing at each other a little bit. Can't hear each other yelling from the next room.
She would be cussing at him,
That's
and
totally what I got.
he would be more of a prude about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my visual. You're welcome.
I love that you brought something Muggle into this conversation because that's what we're about. This is Anomaly, and we're going to do that.
Yes. Well, as we were talking, and my other half, super long-term geek cred carrying card member, and even he tonight was like going, like I had thought, well, Remington Steele was probably the first show I watched. I don't even know if you guys are aware of that one. And Pierce Brosnan.
Yes.
And what's her name? I can't remember. And all that, and moonlighting. And he was actually saying, well, those were the front runners in our era based on what our ages are, for starting that type of dynamic that the producers create to get you to watch and to keep watching. So those are the little Muggle front runners. But
here's a scenario that we need to figure out. Counselor Troy's mom, are you both familiar with Star Trek The Next Generation?
Mm-hmm.
She had an affinity for a lot of men. She married a lot of men. And one of them that she was really attracted to was Captain Picard. But we all know that his true love was Crusher. So we can't pair her up with him.
Right.
But she also was attracted to Odo. And that was not going to ever work out either. Who can we pair up with Loxana Troy? A romantic interest for her that is her equal.
Okay, I had a thought. It's a bit of a left field thought, but run with me on this.
Okay, I'm open.
Loxana needs a firm hand. And in some crazy fanfic universe, there is a world where she and Professor McGonagall make a power couple the likes of which cannot be equaled.
oh my gosh.
I'm just saying that would be one heck of a power couple.
Okay. What is it that they say in poker? I never played poker, but I've heard these terms before. Help me out here. I
see
am
your
not
bet
a
and I
Muggle in
raise.
that. Yes. What about Q? Because I feel like no one needs to be a firm hand with Loxana. She needs to control somebody. And who better to control than Q? Because he's all over the place.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
They could rule the galaxy together. She would be a power for good. You ship it?
I ship it.
Yes. I'm
done.
behind that one.
I think it works. I was trying to think of a superhero couple. I love me some Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
He's also INFJ, if I can throw that out there. And he would make an awesome superhero boyfriend for me if I ever went that direction.
What's stopping you from going that direction?
Well, I am married.
Oh, that. Yeah.
But he's too goody-goody, and he needs some bad girl influence to keep him, fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really like his friendship with Black Widow. The two of them would make a good couple. What say you?
Yes.
I loved their dynamic in Winter Soldier movie. She was definitely the one of the main kind of leads in that one with him. And man, just every scene with those two together just pops.
Yeah, they do have a
absolutely.
chemistry.
We just watched Civil War again the other day. We're doing it all in order again, or some order. When she follows him to the funeral just to check on him. And then the conversation on the phone after the bombing. She's trying to reel him in. She knows he's there. So, yeah, I can totally see that. That's going to be super hot in the bedroom. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
I did want to say, though, my first thought, the thing that popped into my head would be interesting to see him with Catwoman, original Catwoman from the original series.
You stole what I was going to say, and I love you for it. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, okay, I want to go to DC. Who in DC would match up well with Cap? And then I went, oh man, yeah, I am 100% with you on that.
What about Superman, the DC version of Captain America, and vice versa? Because I thought about this, and I keep going back to Lois Lane. 1970s Lois.
The Margot Kidder?
Yeah.
Well, applying the same logic as beforehand and looking at the Marvel universe for Superman, the first thought that came to my head was Storm. from the X-Men. She's a very, very powerful woman in her own right. She's been worshipped as a god, so has he. So they have a little bit of common ground that they could work with, and they're both very strong, very vibrant personalities. So that was my first thought.
That's interesting because, I mean, thinking about his, the Clark Kent side a little bit, I'm picturing him with Jean Grey.
Because Cyclops is basically Clark Kent anyway. I love, yeah, I can totally see that.
Yep. This is fun, and I won't be able to watch anything ever again without making up my own backstories.
That's the beauty of shipping.
It's
You're
all right.
welcome.
Yes.
Well, they've already hinted at it, but Drax and Mantis.
I have it written on my paper.
You
I was
do?
gonna say
Because
it.
Drax keeps opening his mouth and saying super insulting things.
Right. But she doesn't know that. And
yeah,
we were talking about this over dinner too. I'm like, I'd really like to see, Drax and Mantis, but they both are repelled by each other. It's very inconvenient.
You are hideous.
But that's okay.
But who knows what he really means by hideous? Does he really know what that word means?
Right. Maybe it means beautiful, but I don't think so. The face he makes when he...
Yeah.
when he...
I have one that's a little bit out there. I don't know. I came up with the idea and I thought, I don't know if she really needs a guy. Tilly from Star Trek Discovery. Have you been watching that? Are you familiar with that character at least?
Yes, we just finished the first season. We're into the second season. We were just catching up. And I was wanting to tell you, so I've, brought my friends and my other half into, Joe, my other half's name is, into the conversation. So I texted him when we started and I'm like, wait, we were going sort of in the wrong direction. Give me some that are not the focus, are not classic ones, but that you'd like to see together. And I said, knowing that I was walking into a trap, I said, like Zoe and Kaylee. And he immediately was like, Anara and Kaylee, thank you very much. But just after that, he texted Tilly and anyone.
I like that because she would make any relationship fun.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, literally, we watch that and we're just grinning whenever she's doing anything.
I love the way they write her lines, and I love the way she performs them, and I love the way they direct her. But I was thinking, who in the Star Trek universe reminds me of Tilly? I feel like Chekhov from the Kelvin line. I can't think of the name of the actor. I'm going to have to Google it right now. He passed away, sadly. So
right, yeah.
Even though she's a little awkward in social settings, she's not afraid to say what she thinks. And in parties, she seems like she's a really fun person.
Yeah. I don't think that she's not afraid. I think she can't not say what she thinks.
Exactly.
Noah, how far have you gotten?
Anton Yelchin
Yeah, that's it.
is the actor's name.
How far has Noah gotten with Discovery?
No.
I've gotten to the part where I know I need to watch it, or else Jen and Angela are going to beat me about the head and neck with wooden spoons, or hopefully nothing sharper than that.
Well, we've gotten almost caught up in pretty much 10 days, so you can do it.
You can do it. And also, anomalies don't attack other people for not watching the shows they like. So you're thinking of regular nerds.
Okay. Well, let us just say that I will beat myself about the head, neck, and shoulders with a wooden spoon if I don't get on to something that they are so enamored about and have recommended so highly. I'll put it that way.
Do whatever makes you happy. What sect of monks used to hit themselves on the head? Was it the Franciscans? I feel like it was the Franciscans. And you often dress as a monk at Renfest, so I understand where that's coming from.
I do have a monk outfit. That's true.
The Friar Tuck thing you do. I can't think of. I was trying to come up with a significant other for Data, Tasha Yar. And because I think the two of them had great chemistry. But he would have to move on with his life. And I really can't think of anyone off the top of my head that would have been a good pairing for him. Do you guys have an idea of who we could pair poor Data up with?
Man, that's tough.
For some reason, now Mantis is in my head for him.
That's a really good one.
Actually.
That is man, the more I think about that, the more I like it.
Super intelligent and super empathic.
I was just going to say it's the emotions that he would be attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any without his chip, so that would be an interesting situation for her because she's always feeling what other people feel, and if she couldn't feel him, maybe there would be some sort of peace for her that would be attractive.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks.
And once he has the chip, would she be able to touch him and know what he's feeling? That's another question.
And maybe that would be attractive to him because then he would know if he had reached his goal of becoming human. Because what if she did touch him and feel those emotions? Then that would be some sort of confirmation to him that he had achieved his lifelong pursuit of evolving to a human.
Do you know offhand who has the comic rights for Star Trek? Because we need to get these people on the phone with Marvel.
Sign us up. Who came up with that? Tamara.
That was Tamara.
Hello.
I think you deserve a Gamma Quadrant golf clap. I almost said golf crap. That needs to be something we say as well. I coined it right here in this episode.
You did. For bad ideas.
Need to refer back to this later. When we don't like something, we can call it the Gamma Quadrant golf crap.
The attacking normal nerds.
Wow.
Yes.
That's for them.
For those of you who are just tuning in who don't know what the Gamma Quadrant golf clap is, you hold your left hand out, face up, and you take the back of your right hand and you slap it very primly into the palm. Noah, you may aspire to the Gamma Quadrant golf clap in the future.
One day.
One day you will achieve it.
No, when you're doing the live sound effects, I think there needs to be a button for.
Ooh, yes, like a golf tournament clap.
I have already made one, my friends. It is already ready to go.
Excellent.
That was one of the first sound clips I found was a nice little golf clap. Yeah.
I look forward to that.
My head is spinning. Everyone are all options with each other now. It's just one big vortex of spinning relationships.
I have Google opened. I am seeing a picture of Guinan with her claws up, where she sees Q for the first time and they hiss at each other. And it reminded me of the fact that I can't think of anyone that would ever be perfect for her other than Picard. Because in an alternate universe, the two of them would be the perfect match.
So I'm sorry, say it one more time for me because I was Googling something else.
You get the first ever Gamma Quadrant golf crap.
Bum, bum, bum,
wah, wah, wah. I see a picture of her in the pose where her claws are up when she first sees Q.
Oh, yes,
the two of them see, yeah. And it just reminded me that there has never been a pairing for Guinan. But then on the other side of this line of photos I see is Odo. And I think Odo and Guinan would make a pretty good pairing. Are you familiar with Odo from Deep Space Nine?
Yes. Man in a bucket. Yeah, I can see that happening because neither one of them suffer fools gladly. So I think that aspect between the both of them would be fun to explore.
I agree. I'm glad he came up with that idea. All right, that's all I got. I'm tapped out. It was very fun to talk to you both, and I hope we can do this again, Tamara.
I'd love to. It's been a fun, the whole process and prepping for it was fun, and revisiting, just kind of popping up going, oh, Steve Austin and Jamie Summers, like all the relationships that the producers over the years have made us suffer through, watching them happen and not happen. And it's been fun to revisit those. We're actually watching Roswell right now. That's the dinner show. We just binge watch series. So that's what we watch during dinner, and Discovery is we watch before bed. And, that's what we're doing right now. And, every year and a half we'll go through Harry Potter again, so. Oh, actually last month we did the first 5 episodes of the original Star Trek and then followed that with the first 5 episodes of TNG. It was really funny and interesting to do that and see the shows that were made directly off of those stories, those original. So many of those original stories from the first 5 were carried over, the stories or the people, into the first 5 of TNG. That was really kind of interesting. We'd never really done that before. Mm-hmm. And actually, in watching the Marvel movies in order, I'm amazed at the things that when you watch them a year and a half apart, that you don't remember to the next one that are more subtle facts about the different characters. Anyway, I digress. I recommend binge watching for this reason. But Roswell is funny because I'm super frustrated with the teenagers.
That is one reason why I cannot watch WB television shows.
Was that one?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, probably.
Because I don't like teenagers. No offense, teenagers, if you're listening. I don't think you are, but in case you are. I love you, Aaron, if you're listening in the future. I love you anyway. I always want to know what's going on, but I can't stomach it. Like The Flash, I know lots of listeners, you like The Flash. And you know what? You be you. Don't let me rain on your parade. But I think it's too emo for me. Like every 5 seconds, someone is crying and needing a hug. And it's just too much emotion for this Vulcan to enjoy.
Nice. And it may be too that it's too caricature. Like some of when they're doing it with the teenagers, they make them the caricature. So there's the mean girl and there's the tough, there's the loner kid and there's the over-emotional teenager, whatever. And so it's a lot and it's sort of slow moving and you're like, would you just kiss her already? Like get that over with? Or, last week we were watching something and they were like making out all the time and they were going to get caught. And I'm like, why are they doing this? They're smarter than this. This is stupid. And I'm like, oh, they're teenagers, right? Their brains are turned off now and they're not making good decisions. Anyway, I digress. It's all kinds of relationship dynamics in those shows.
I too watch, we binge watch during dinner. Aaron and Dave and I will not watch this show unless we're in the same room and we can only watch one episode a night. And that is a series of unfortunate events. And Neil Patrick Harris is in it and he rocks Count Olaf. I love it for the mere reason that he is in it. And also the baby's cute. But if you're not watching that show, watch it on Netflix. It's great.
We'll have to put that on the list for sure.
Mm-hmm. And because of your theater background, I think you will really appreciate this show because it reminds me so much of theater. And I know it's because of his influence. I'm sure he has a lot of direction in how things are scripted and acted and all of that stuff. And it's just awesome. I love it.
Cool.
And he sings multiple times.
I'll definitely check it out. And I know what you mean. There are times when I'll walk in the house, see Joe watching something like, are you watching that without me? He'd be like, no, I was just rewatching the one we watched last night.
Do not watch this one.
There's certain series we won't watch together. We'll be like, no, you can do that on your own. Or I'll say, yeah, you can catch up with that on your own. But other times it's like, are you cheating on me by not watching that show with me?
There's another thing that annoys me is when anyone gets up, I pause it for them. But when I get up, no one pauses it for me. And I feel like that it is implied that when mom gets up, the television needs to be paused because, courtesy.
That's a rule. Make that a rule.
I
should not have to
just take
ask.
the remote with you when you leave the room.
You'd think I would, but my little boy, he squirrels it away. Like as soon as someone isn't looking, he grabs the remote because he likes having control.
Nice.
And it's his fault.
Well, before we leave this shipping conversation, I just got one last text from my other half saying,
okay.
I totally forgot Ripley and Hicks.
It's been many, many moons since I've seen
that's from Aliens.
Yeah, Aliens, I know, but who's Hicks?
He was one of those Marines.
Oh, okay.
Right? I'm going to get in trouble if that's wrong.
Well, I'm going to Google it.
Okay.
So I have to know things.
I can picture him. I can picture the actor.
Yeah, I think he's a Marine. He was Lieutenant Coffee in The Abyss, which is another awesome movie.
Oh, yes.
He's a Marine.
Yeah.
He's one of the Marines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were right.
Yay, me.
Corporal Hicks.
Yay. What were you talking about not having geek cred?
I'm doing pretty well.
Ridiculous.
I feel like it's a game show and I'm doing okay. And I got a golf clap.
Great.
Woo-hoo.
Because you're an anomaly. Anomalies don't have to know everything.
Yay.
One more thing before we go, and I know, Noah, you probably had some thoughts, and I will let you get back to it. But because Anomaly is the halfway point between Muggle and Geek, I want to bring in some Muggle romance movies that you may like. This may not be in your ballpark, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh, right, because this is the Valentine episode.
It is. First of all, I adore Audrey Hepburn, and I'll watch anything she's in. And Charade is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. If you haven't watched Charade, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It has Cary Grant in it. And she has the perfect dialogue with him in like the opening scene. And it's clever and fun, and I love it. But also, Meg Ryan, anything that she's in with
Tom Hanks.
Or are you thinking when Harry Met Sally and Billy Crystal?
Billy Crystal.
Oh.
Billy Crystal.
See.
When Harry Met Sally is my second favorite movie.
Interesting.
And I love their dynamic in that movie. And I love the little clips that are like little documentaries with old people talking about the first time they met to their significant other, which I want to talk about briefly before we get off air. And I like to watch it during Christmas because there's this scene where they're carrying a Christmas tree home with them, because it kind of follows them throughout the year, and it ends on New Year's. Those are two of my favorite movies, and one other one, John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara.
Maureen O'Hara in
The Quiet Man. Yes. It has like a reference in E.T. in the scene where Elliot frees all the frogs in the room.
Yes.
He grabs the little girl and he kisses her, and that's a scene from The Quiet Man. Also, the choreographed fight scene between her and John Wayne is epic. I listened to the commentary on the DVD where Maureen O'Hara is describing how they came up with that. And they planned the whole thing out, she and John Wayne. It was all them. And she actually fell into a pile of lamb poo during the filming, and they just went with it.
Stick to beat the lovely lady.
Yes. It's very funny and tongue-in-cheek, and also I admire her greatly.
Well, I have to, first of all, admire your taste in movies, because I'll tell my little story, and that is I kind of tricked my wife into going on our first date. She didn't really know it was a date. I knew it was a date. I thought this was a date. She didn't know it was a date. So we showed up, and we had a magnificent date, and the end of the date was back at my apartment, and we watched When Harry Met Sally. Literally, our first date was watching that movie.
Aww.
Perfect.
And I told her that I didn't really know a lot of John Wayne movies, and so she showed me The Quiet Man.
I love your wife. It's amazing.
She's awesome.
She is awesome.
Fully agree. %. I ship us.
That's great. What about you, Tamara?
Well, I do enjoy Meg Ryan movies too. I liked Sleepless in Seattle. And there's a scene in that. It's with the guy that she doesn't end up staying with. And I think of it as from When Harry Met Sally. So I don't know if there's a similar scene. But I think of it sometime, they're in bed and they're kind of comfortable with each other. So it's like he's taking out his contacts or whatever, and she's handing him a Kleenex. Like, they don't even speak. They're just doing the stuff that they do that's part of their routine, because they know it's part of their routine. And I always kind of love that, and because I kind of see that, that really certainly happens in people's lives. So because I do enjoy the rom-com piece of it as well. And Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I love that.
Yeah. Classic end scene in the rain there. And My Fair Lady. So even though I struggle with the buy-in between the characters,
yes,
it's still a fabulous story.
The rain in Spain was mostly on the plane.
Yes. And I have shows that I watch seasonally too. And The Man Who Came to Dinner, I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, I think I know that one.
It's got like somebody Wooly Halsey or something. And Betty.
Is it Sidney Poitier?
No, that's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yes, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
And The Man Who Came to Dinner is about an old radio show man who's a curmudgeon. He breaks his leg anyway. He is in this Midwestern person's house. He has to stay there for 2 weeks, and he kind of takes over. And he has all these eccentric friends, and Betty Davis is one of them. And she falls in love with the local newspaper man. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I recommend it. It happens to happen at Christmas time, so I always happen to watch it at Christmas time. But that's a fabulous little story.
I'm making a note right now.
Yeah.
Do we love Meg Ryan movies because Nora Ephron wrote most of them?
Oh.
Or do we love them because they're both a part of it? Her chirpiness and her happiness makes me happy, I think. Meg Ryan I think naturally is that way, because she seems to be the same kind of person in every movie.
Yes.
Bubbly.
I think it's
happy.
like a 60-40 split for me. I think it's like 60% Nora and 40% Meg, because Meg brings a lot to it. She's only saying the things that Nora puts in her mouth.
Right.
And she was such a great writer.
And I don't know, there's the scene in Sleepless where she's driving somewhere and she's listening to the radio, and it was playing like Jingle Bells. And I'm curious about this now. I want to look it up and see if this was written or if she just did it. But she just starts going, horses, 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 horses. It's kind of this, the kind of thing you do in the car when you start repeating a word over and over and no one else is around. I'm like, that's totally real. That's totally real. So I think that's it. She seems like somebody we'd know.
Yeah.
That has to be it. I will tell my story about how I met my husband quickly. We had met as freshmen in a junior college before transferring to a state university. And we had this really strange 3-hour break before a class that we both shared. And we would spend that time on the front steps of this building talking. We talked for weeks. And eventually, I guess he got up the nerve to ask me to lunch. So we went to McDonald's, and me being a very conservative kid, that my mom was like, "You be careful of young men." I decided I was driving because I needed to be in control of the situation and was not going to get into a vehicle that guy drove anywhere. But we ended up at McDonald's, and I ordered a quarter pounder with french fries, and I moved out of the way so that he could order, and he held up a brown paper bag. He had brought a lunch.
Stop it.
With him. He just wanted an excuse to join me for lunch. And he ate his peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever it was he had brought and an apple while I had a hamburger at McDonald's.
And he got
married
a
for
second date.
22 years now.
Aw,
22.
Congratulations.
Magnificent.
And he proposed to me on the steps of my dorm. It was like a rom-com. The girls on my floor knew it was happening, and they were all out the windows watching him propose to me on the front steps and
Aw.
applauded afterwards.
That's wonderful. So Joe and I have been together about 8 years, and I guess you'd have to know how old we are. We're mid-century. Let's say that. And we grew up in the same town, so we went to the same school. Our families knew each other, but we were 2 years apart. He likes to say I'm 2 years older, and I remind him that I was twice his age in like 1972, but now I'm just 2 years older. It's not that much older. And we went to high school together, but the only time we really overlapped was we did theater together in high school. We did one act, and we did The Mad Woman of Chaillot was the spring play, and I played the lead, and he played the doorman. And when I whistled, he came running. Pretty awesome. And then we didn't really see each other for a quarter century and reconnected on Facebook, and we were organizing a theater reunion of people that had done theater together at our high school, because we had a strong theater department there and a lot of affection for that. And the rest is history. 8 years later, we're back.
That's
we're still
awesome.
together, but we're back together, and it's really nice to have someone that has a lot of shared history. If you can say, "Hey, remember when so-and-so got their tongue frozen on the playground?" Like, yes, I totally remember when that happened. So, and it's great, and we do a lot of not so much cosplay, although we do a lot. Costuming in Halloween is really big. We'll do multiple costumes for Halloween, frequently sci-fi costumes, and sometimes take them to cons. We go to Salem. So our geekiness together is a lot about costuming and board games.
I have seen some of your costumes. They are wonderful.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you joined us on Anomaly. If you have anything to add to our shipping conversation, you out there in Anomaly land, feel free to drop us a line at girlygeeks@gmail.com. That's girlygeeks with a Z at gmail.com. Or call our voicemail line at 432-363-4742. You can also use your smartphone and record a voice memo, and send it to us. I don't care how long it is, just as long as we hear your voice, because our discussions are enriched. Is that a word, enriched?
It is now.
Enlivened when you join in the conversation. So please feel free to do that at any time. So that's it. You've been listening to the Anomaly Podcast, the halfway point between Muggle and Geek.
Nice.
I stumbled on that, but okay. Check out Tamara's podcasts, Stage Door Diva and My Friends at 40+. Both can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, StageDoorDiva.com, or myfriends@40plus.com. You're still listening? You are hardcore. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Head over to anomalypodcast.com and click subscribe at the top of the homepage. That's ANOMALY podcast.com. You'll find all of our episodes on our website, including the ones we've archived. We'd love to learn more about you. Tell us how you found us and what part of the world you're listening in. Email a note or send a voice memo recorded on your smart device to girlygeeks@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can always call our voicemail line at 432-363-4742. It may take us a day or two to get back to you, but we never ignore email. Join our Facebook public group. It's full of friendly anomalies just like you. And Angela and I are usually there posting and commenting as well. Google Anomaly Podcast Public Group, and boom, you have a link. If you're looking for podcasts like Anomaly, try Treks in Sci-Fi with our friend Rico Dosti. He encouraged us over a decade ago to start our own show, and we've been pals ever since. Angela and I are also guests from time to time on Treks in Sci-Fi. Another show you might want to check out is Waffle On with our friends Meds and Kel. They cover all sorts of movies and TV shows from the US and UK. Then there's the Star Wars Stacks that I host with my friends Chris and Joe. We cover Star Wars books, movies, games, and now we're thinking about doing a role-playing game series. Our characters are going to be scoundrels and bounty hunters. Joe also has a show called The Upper Memory Block. If you love DOS and pre-Windows XP gaming, Joe's show is for you. You can Google all these shows or find them on Apple Podcasts. You're still here? You are an overachiever, my friend. Are you Ravenclaw? Virtual fist bump. Oh my gosh, it stopped recording. Oh, it's still recording. You've reached the bonus round, my friend, and you deserve some outtakes. Enjoy. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow.
Lion face, lemon face, lion face, lemon face. How now, brown cow?
So that's it. You've been listening to the Anomaly Podcast, where nope, scratch that. We have redone our tagline. You've been listening to the Anomaly Podcast, the halfway point between Muggle and Geek.
Nice.
I stumbled on that, but okay. It'll get better. I'll practice it.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've only been saying it the one way for what, 11 and a half years now? 12 years?
I know, yeah. And we just decided that it's not true anymore because everyone listens to the show, not just women. And female always sounds weird. Angela always said that it reminded her of like feminine products. We said the word female and fandom converges.
You do not want people to go, Anomaly Podcast, it's a female product.
And also, what does that mean? Because that could be anything. So we had to change it up.